So here's where we left off in the last video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in field names that are relevant to what we're talking about here, which is the student details. So that's individual details about a student. So obviously first name and then last name, and I think that that's going to be the data type of short text. As you can see, there's a number of different types of data types that we can put in there. At the moment we're doing a short text. Now text data type, I need to just explain this, is what's known as alphanumeric. So if I had a area where I needed to put in numbers and letters, let's say it was I'm going to create a database that has passwords in it and I needed symbols and letters and numbers, then text is actually alphanumeric. In numbers and large numbers, date and time, currency, you can't put any text in there. So we'll just do that. I'm not going to put in a description for the last name, but what I'm going to do is change this to say field size of 20. Then I'm going to say things about the student, so I'm going to put D underscore O underscore B, which obviously stands for date of birth. And then we're going to choose a date and time. We're then going to say hair color, which is going to be short text. We only need about 10. Then we say eye color. Then that's going to be text as well. We don't need 255 for the eye color. Let's say that is 10 again, in case you've got two coloured eyes like I do. We might do height, and this time it's going to be a number, so we're just going to put in there in brackets centimetres. We're going to choose a number, and it's only just a short integer or a long integer, or we can just put in an integer. Now an integer is a whole number, and I'd say we're only going to have like 3 digits for the height, and we're not going to put in weight, but these are all the information about our personal self. Right? Now I just want to explain this to you. With every table there must be a field that none of the information in that field can be repeated. For example, first name could have, say, 2 Alexes in the class, or people with the last name, maybe we've got twins in it. We need what's known as a unique identifier, and that's represented by this key. That's actually a key up there, and you can see that if I click that off, the primary key disappears. Now what I like to do is I like to name this field, which is the primary key, and it has an auto number. I like to assign that as a number, and I like to then, when I'm doing this, give each student their own individual number, which is like an ID. An ID is anything like, for example, if you hold out or get out your student card or your library card, there will be a series of numbers on that. It's like a fingerprint. It's like a number plate on a car. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this student underscore details, student ID, and it's just going to be a number, and that's going to be what's known as our primary key. Now every student in there cannot have the same number, so usually what I do is I walk around the class and I go, right, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3. So when the student puts their details in here into the database, for example, we will say, right, you're number 1 and your date of birth is this, and you're going to put all those details in. Now everyone, when they get their database and create it, they actually put in their number assigned to their name. So we'll say this, I'm number 2, and then I put in my database, my date of birth and all that, and everyone gets to see that, and then they can put it in. So we'll put in here, say John Smith, and he's number 3, and then we might say, okay, well, let's not be discriminatory. Sarah Brown, just by random sake, and you can see that these student IDs are 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we're going to create another table, then it's going to go with them. We're going to take that number and we're going to use that again, and I will show you that. But what I'm going to do now is stop the video, and I'm going to put all these details in. You don't have to watch me typing that in. The video would be too long. So that's the next step. You can go ahead and create this database. If you need to go back and watch videos, you can. And what you need to do is put in some dummy data into these tables. I would use these fields because they're important to understand that this is just about the student, and then get up to speed with me. And the next video we're going to talk about is how we're going to create a second database, a second table in the one database, and we're going to end up with 3 tables.